What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 9 of The Bat Boy and episode 2 of my kids doing the introduction. They really enjoyed doing it last time. Some people seem to really like it, so they're back. Alright, let's go ahead.
In today's episode, we'll talk about injuries. There have been a lot of injuries already from guys like Pablo Lopez and Francisco Lindor to Josh Hader. Is Bryce Harper mad enough to...
Hang on, slow down. Alright, so the next one is what?
Is Bryce Harper mad enough at the Phillies that they'll trade him? Hamate Bone, the new Tommy John surgery. Check out the new W Energy link in subscription and use code BATBOY for 10%. Don't forget to subscribe.
Alright, that was better. You did a lot better reading that one. I don't think you got any wrong. The hamate bone, I don't really know how to say that one.
The what?
The hamate bone. It's like a little bone in your wrist, this part right here.
Oh, hamate?
But it seems to be running rampant across Major League Baseball, so we're going to talk about that. But I don't really know what it is. Well, I know what it is now because I looked it up, but I didn't know what it was before 2 weeks ago.
Why do you always ask them to get W's energy drinks?
Well, because W energy drinks are really good, and because they sponsor the videos, so I want you to go buy it, and you get 10% off. You get a discount. Why wouldn't you want to go get it? And they have really cool hats.
Well, I'm not even allowed to drink that stuff, so I don't really care about it.
Nope, you don't. Hey, don't mess with the microphone.
Okay.
But they have cool hats. You can wear the hats.
The hat?
Yeah, the hats are cool. They got a cool logo.
Yeah, why is it upside down?
I don't know. That's what they do.
It's
I think it's cool.
I didn't have X eyes.
Don't know. I didn't create the logo.
Huh.
All right, that's all we got. You guys have anything else you want to say before we go? Or before you go?
Make sure to like and subscribe to Daddy's channel. Yeah. And
Always.
and
Good message.
comment down below. And comment down below.
Comment Carter. We'll see how many people actually listen to this.
And
what else?
don't forget to drink W energy drinks. W.
Link below. 10% off. Code BATBOY. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
W energy drinks. Bye.
All right. Let's get into the episode.
Next time.
All right. Let's get into it now. So, first and foremost, thank you to my kids for doing the introduction. They have a blast doing it. I hope it's as fun watching them as they have doing it. They literally go every single day asking me when they could do the next one. So, it's a lot of fun that they're getting involved. So let's get into it. I don't have a whole lot to talk about this week. I have been focusing mostly on getting all of the team previews out, and those have been doing pretty well. So I appreciate you all for watching those, reacting to those. Next week, we will be doing a World Baseball Classic preview because that'll be a couple days before the start of the tournament next Monday. Today, more injury-related injuries, like my daughter said. Yeah, the first 2 weeks of spring training, quote unquote, / pitchers and catchers reporting has been nuts. So I'll just kind of go through who took the brunt of most of the injuries. As of right now, seems like the Minnesota Twins are getting hit the hardest, maybe, along with the Braves. Start with the Twins. Pablo Lopez, their ace, underwent Tommy John surgery, I believe, on Friday. So he's out through 2026, potentially into 2027. That's a big blow. And then today, as I'm recording this on Saturday, Joe Ryan, who is basically the number 2, who was now their ace, was pulled from his start today in spring training against the Boston Red Sox due to back tightness. And he's getting an MRI done. He's supposed to be pitching for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. That's in jeopardy. Who knows what's going to come of this MRI, but there's some uncertainty around him right now, and that's going to really put a damper on that starting rotation. I don't think the Twins are really going to compete in that division, especially without Pablo Lopez. But if you take out Joe Ryan for any sort of time, I think they're pretty much done, if I'm being completely honest. There are still some pitchers out there. Lucas Giolito still has yet to sign as of me recording this. And he had a really good 2025, so I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been signed yet. He did miss 2024 due to an injury, but had a 120 ERA plus last season, which was his highest since 2021. In 26 games, started 3.41 ERA, about a little over 8 strikeouts for 9 innings. I mean, he had a solid season. So the fact that he hasn't signed yet is kind of weird to me. But any sort of news to Joe Ryan that dictates time missed, I think they're going to have to heavily look into Giolito or Littell or Max Scherzer or something. Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be difficult for them to overcome. And then next, the Braves. The same situation, losing 2 starting pitchers. First, Spencer Schwellenbach had elbow surgery to remove loose bodies. He's already been placed on the 60-day IL. It wasn't Tommy John, so he can return this year, but for 60 days, I mean, you're out until pretty much the end of May. I mean, you're looking at a June return at best. And then Hurston Waldrop, who kind of burst on the scene in 2025 in small sample size, made about 10 starts, but he had a 2 ERA. Wasn't guaranteed a spot in the rotation, but with Schwellenbach getting hurt, it pretty much locked him in to, at worst, the 5 spot, maybe bumping him up to 4, depending on if they sign Giolito. They could sign Zach Littell, who also had a good 2025 split between Tampa Bay and Cincinnati. 32 games, 3.8 ERA. Doesn't strike out a bunch, but he had an ERA plus of 111, so above average. Very good. That could be an option, especially for a team like the Braves, who are definitely built more to compete right now than Minnesota is. So you would think that they would be more motivated to sign one of those guys at the very least. And Waldrop surgery was the exact same as Schwellenbach. Removed loose bodies from his elbow. Hasn't been placed on the 60-day IL yet, but it will be happening shortly, I'm assuming. He's supposed to undergo surgery as of the release of this episode on Monday. So that should put, like, similar to Schwellenbach, he should be looking at a June return at best. So they're going to have to do something. A couple other pitchers, Josh Hader in Houston was having some bicep issues. No timetable for his return. Luckily for Houston, they already have a built-in closer. Certainly not saying losing Josh Hader is not going to hurt. It's certainly going to hurt because that's going to bump Brian Abreu from locking down the 8th inning to now he's the closer. I think he's going to be a closer at some point in his career. He's dominant, nasty stuff. 184 ERA plus in 2025. He did blow 5 of his 12 saves opportunities in 2025, so that's not ideal. But he did have 25 holds, struck out 105 in 70 innings. I mean, just filthy stuff. So he'll slide into that closer role should Hader miss time, but that's going to make the 6th to 8th inning window a little murkier. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with him. And then Riley O'Brien to wrap up the pitching injuries of note. He's having some leg issues. He is supposed to pitch for Team Korea in the World Baseball Classic, so that is in question. He pitches for the Cardinals, by the way. He was in line to potentially be the closer, potentially split closing duties with Jojo Romero. Worst case, he was going to be a setup man. So that's in question after he had a very good 2025 as well. So their bullpen gets a little murkier. I think the Cardinals are actually, for a team that's rebuilding, their bullpen is relatively deep. It's deep with guys that don't have a ton of experience, but have shown the ability to close games. I mean, he was closing games in his rookie season last year. They got Jojo Romero, who's closed before. They got Matt Swanson. They have plenty of guys that could step into that role out there in St. Louis. Kyle Leahy, this should, depending on the time missed for O'Brien, this should kind of facilitate Leahy to stick in the bullpen and not move to the starting rotation, which is something that I've, kind of petitioned for. So we'll see what happens with him as well, which also has World Baseball Classic ramifications to it. Let's move to offense. My kids did mention the hamate bone injury. I don't know how to say that word still. I do know where the bone is now. It's a small carpal bone in the wrist, but it seems to be the trendy Tommy John surgery of 2026. Francisco Lindor, Corbin Carroll, and Jackson Holliday all having surgically repaired hamate bones. Never knew what this was, and all of a sudden happened to 3 guys in a 48-hour window. All questionable for opening day. Corbin Carroll has been removed from Team USA's World Baseball Classic roster, replaced by Roman Anthony, which I think it will be kind of exciting to get to see him on that stage. Obviously, Corbin Carroll is probably the best left fielder in Major League Baseball, if not the best, one of the 2 or 3 best. So it's going to be a bit of a blow to Team USA, but Roman Anthony is probably the brightest young star in Major League Baseball right now of guys that haven't played a full season yet. He seems like he's got all the tools to be the best left fielder in Major League Baseball, in a year or 2. So it'll be cool to see him on that stage with the Aaron Judges and the Gunnar Hendersons and Bobby Witts and Paul Skeens and Tark Skubal and all those guys. It'll be really cool to see him on that stage. Along with Jackson Holliday, third baseman for the Orioles, so the whole left side of the Jackson Holliday, I guess, plays second, but Jordan Westberg also out. He had an oblique strain and then a subsequent elbow injury, which is going to keep him out through April at the least. So we're looking at potentially a May return, depending on how rehab goes. This is looking like Kobe Mayo is no longer going to be traded and can now look at a consistent bit of playing time for the first month to 2 months. This could also open the door for Blaze Alexander, recently acquired by the Orioles, to fill in that role. We shall see. Back to Atlanta, Ha-Seong Kim, torn tendon in his finger, so he's going to be out until at least May. Most likely going to be Jorge Mateo taking those reps. Mateo has been around. He's going to provide quality defense. He's going to provide a lot of speed and an okay bat. So he should get those reps in the meantime. Tommy Edman for the Dodgers. Ankle surgery. Opening day is possible with a question mark. Not so sure. That could go to Miguel Rojas, World Series saving hero Miguel Rojas, or Alex Freeland, who is a top 50 prospect in Major League Baseball. He's supposed to be a very productive offensive infielder. So I would personally love to see him get an opportunity. It'll probably be Rojas to start. But I'm assuming Rojas is going to get the initial at-bats. And then, depending on how Freeland does in the spring, maybe he can, earn a couple games as well. I'd love to see him get an opportunity. Last but not least, Anthony Santander, the Blue Jays, which was a horrific signing in 2025 after, he hit a bunch of home runs in Baltimore and did nothing else and signed a big contract in Toronto and didn't do anything at all. So he had shoulder surgery. He's going to be out until about August. Don't think that's going to affect him in any way. He was not good in 2025. And frankly, I don't think he was very good in Baltimore either. He just hit a bunch of home runs and turned that into a relatively big contract for some reason. So those are the injuries as of recording, which is Saturday. A lot of big names. I hate spring injuries. Spring injuries suck. They really do. But it happens every year. We'll see how they bounce back from it. Lastly, I want to talk about the whole Bryce Harper situation. The whole context or interview, I guess, Dave Dombrowski gave, where he said that he didn't have an elite 2025. Bryce Harper showed up to, I don't know if it was spring training or if it was like a workout, and he was wearing a shirt that said not elite, kind of as a dig back to Dombrowski frankly, I think Dombrowski's comments were taken a bit out of context because what he said, I don't think was factually incorrect. Maybe it's not something that Bryce Harper really wanted to hear, but it didn't seem like it was wrong. He just said Bryce Harper didn't have an elite 2025 that, we expect out of a guy like Bryce Harper. And frankly, he's not wrong. 2025, he hit 261. He still had, 357 on base, 487 slug. That's not bad. 27 home runs, 75 RBIs, a bit on the low side. 129 OPS plus, which is hilarious. So we think this is bad. And frankly, it is a bad year for Bryce. That was his lowest since a OPS plus of 126 in 2019. So that kind of shows you the level that the standard that he set. That 129 is now a season where the GM of the team is quote unquote taking digs at the player. I don't think he really did, but there was talks about, could Bryce Harper get traded? Dombrowski said he wasn't. He said, we're not trading Bryce Harper. But it is fun to think about because I want to see him in the Bronx. I really want to see him in the Bronx. When he was a free agent, I did not want to see him in the Bronx. I was, living in D.C. when he was in that, and he was just bugging the living shit out of me, for lack of a better word. I just thought he was too arrogant, too cocky. The fans around here were too arrogant, too cocky, and it just annoyed me, and I didn't want him anywhere near the Bronx. I wish the Yankees would have signed him, and now I kind of want them to make a trade for him. But they're not going to. Would it be fun to see him in the Bronx? Yes. Would he have a monstrous season batting in front of or behind Aaron Judge with a short right field fence? Yes. Is he going to get traded? Probably not. Did he have an elite 2025? Probably not. Did Dave Dombrowski need to tell everybody that he didn't have an elite 2025? Probably not. Is Bryce Harper wrong for taking that as a slight? Probably not. I mean, he's kind of spent his whole life being treated as, the second coming of, I don't know, pick your Mickey Mantles or, Luke Gehrig's or Barry Bonds or, anything. When he was 16 years old, he was touted to be the next great thing. And he's been told that he's the next great thing ever since. If that's not going to go to your head a little bit, that's just, there's something wrong with you. I mean, it's hard not to let that go to your head. Did it bother me for the first 6 years of his career? Yes. Does it bother me now? Not at all. Come to the Bronx. New York would welcome you and love you. It's not going to happen. That's all I got for this week. Like I said, it wasn't much, but I skipped last week due to all the team previews, and there wasn't a whole lot of activity. There was a lot of injuries this week that I wanted to go over, but not much else. Next Monday, we will be doing a World Baseball Classic in-depth preview. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm extremely excited for this tournament. I hope there are no more injuries that affect rosters. I hope there's no injuries during the tournament, because that also really sucks. Shout out to W Energy, link down below. Use promo code BATBOY, get 10% off. It really is good stuff, and the hats are awesome. It's a really cool hat, and they got a lot of flavors. Like I've said many times, the grapefruit citrus is the one that I got right now. It is incredible. Very easy to drink. I drink one every day. It's awesome. So go check them out. Shout out to my kids. Awesome intro, as always. Now, twice. All right. See you guys next week.